The Academy division is the division that provides all the programming. So we offer a college preparatory, 9th through 12th grade program and a post-grad component. It's fully college preparatory. It's a partnership that we have with Grand River Academy, because if we didn't partner with a school, we would not be able to be accredited immediately as a school. So their curriculum we're modifying for our purposes as the curriculum, and we will be that partner for 3 years under their accreditation. Concurrent with that, we are going about getting our own accreditation. At that point, we will be totally separate from Grand River. What being a partner also allows us to do is to take international students right away. And we do have international students here. So it's a good relationship for us. It supports the community, it supports us, and it's a great partnership that we've got underway. Right now we have 36 students here full-time. We have a lot of kids who train here from the community. We have 1,000 people that are part of SPIRE Fit who either walk, swim, or exercise here. And we will be running camps during the summer, full-time, meaning every day throughout the summer, there's camps here in the 5 different specializations that we have. Whether that is track and field, swimming, or basketball, and then the 2 additional ones that we've added, which is esports, which is both playing, designing, and developing new games. So kids who want to come here and major in that full time, meaning they do it for 4 hours a day, in addition to their 5 hours a day of academics. That 4 hours a day will be not simply learning how to play a game to win, but designing the games, writing the musical scores for them, doing the set design, doing all aspects of the esport world, which, as you know, is a very growing opportunity for young people and adults. The largest percentage of people who play an esport game are people between the age of 27 and 39, not kids today. And I won't ask by a show of hands how many of you fit into that category, but I'm sure there are a lot of players in this room. The 5th major that we have is drone technology and also full-size robotic design and development. So those components, those majors, the 2 new ones, are opportunities to expand beyond sport. Because what you need in drone and esport, as well as in robotics, is an engineering background and interest. What we will be building out here is not just those 5 majors I've mentioned, but we'll be adding another 25 majors. Majors in medicine, majors in law, in leadership, in technology, nutrition, life sciences, in all different areas. Why? Because young people who are high school age need to be better prepared for college, if that's what they're going to choose to do. Increasing percentage of kids are being hired right out of high school to go into the technology fields. Google right now would prefer to hire a high school graduate to a 4-year college graduate, because they can put them in their own program, train them for 2 years beyond high school, and likely be able to keep them as an employee for longer than somebody who goes off to college and gets a degree. I'm not saying negates the value of higher education at all, but Google is recognizing that they need people at a younger age who are likely to stay with them for more than the 3 to 4 years that a high school graduate today will stay in their profession. I said profession, not job. And that's a distinct difference, because high school graduates today will have 5 to 7 professions in their working career that are totally unconnected, because their phone gives them the sense of what they can do and entry into different fields. And so it's important for us at SPIRE to look at how we engage young people at a younger age so that we can better prepare them for higher ed, because kids are not as well prepared as they need to be. In the United States, we have a 38% dropout rate from college in freshman year. That's nationwide. We only have a 46% completion rate after 5 years. That's not healthy for higher education. And so with the program that we've developed, which is a 4-pillar program, academics that I've described, it's 5 hours a day. Your major, which is 4 hours a day. personal life skill development, which is an integrated curriculum, every week a different word, such as trust, confidentiality, reliability, family, community, all different words that are then integrated into their academic courses and integrated into their major. It's also part of their boarding school program, 1 night per week in the dorms, to help them speak not just from their head, but learn how to speak from their heart. That's the third leg. The fourth leg is careers. So when you toured upstairs, hopefully you all got over to look in the windows of the 50,000 square feet space that is not developed yet. That's to be a partnership with higher education. Already Kent State University and Case Western are partners with us in this, but we will add other universities to it and add major corporations involved in the professions that are the future for young people today. Part of that future, dictated by what new technology and what new skills are going to be needed, dictates, but also partly some of the work I do is with the World Economic Forum and consulting. And so I, as a futurist in education, look out 10 years as to what education needs to look like for kids from pre-K through graduate school. So in that capacity, I take what World Economic Forum, what McKinsey does, all of the studies, I look at all that material, and from that, I work on what are the new majors where kids are going to have the best chance of getting employed. That's what the majors here will include, in partnership with higher education, in partnership with corporate America. So that's what will occupy that second floor, are those different organizations and corporations that are interested in being part of building out a model that is the best preparing kids for their future, rather than preparing them for something less than what they're capable of doing, and helping them understand how to manage failure and not feel that that is turning them off from anything else that they might want to learn. So we want to build all of that together and create what we think is the hub in the country for what I've just described to you, that other schools are already looking at adopting or partnering with us as what the future of education should look like. So that's all on the academy side. And part of what I was just describing is the institute side. It's the research piece. It's working with universities to develop new types of technology that we all might be needing or wanting for our own well-being at some point. That's also something that it will grow and develop, is the whole institute side. The third piece of what we do here are the events, and you've seen our event venues. You've heard today, hopefully on the tours, about some of the things that we're talking about doing, like having a music festival here on the property next summer. You might have heard about my want to put a big screen out on the field and on 1 night per week offer featured movies where families can come and just sit in the stands or on the grass field and just watch as a family, watch good movies. So bringing the community back into SPIRE is a critical piece of our long-term success. And all of that happens if we have the right facilities. So you've seen the investment that Jonathan has made in this space already, which has only helped us do so much more in a very short period of time. And so that has given us the space. My business partner, Ted Mikema, who is stuck in Florida because he's not allowed to leave Florida because of the virus, but if he were, he would be standing here sharing this with me and talking about these different pieces. But under the event side, we will be growing and doing more and more events. But first we have to have more facilities. So part of that, to get more facilities, required us to acquire more space. We started when Jonathan purchased this property to have 175 acres, which was this area right in here. We have now included the footprint to everything you can come up after and see, to everything that's outlined in blue. So we have about 330 acres right now. We want to get up to 450 acres. That lets us have the blueprint that we need to build out everything that we want to do as part of the SPIRE institution, academy, the whole opportunity that we have in this space. So there are a lot of different things that we're talking about for this space. We're starting to work on a campus master plan in terms of how that space will get utilized, and some of which I'm going to share with you now. But the first piece in building this out is to get more hotel space. And so in a couple of weeks, I think, right? in a couple of weeks, we will break ground for a hotel here on property, which is a Marriott Town Suite Hotel. It will take about 12 to 14 months to complete that. It's going to be right out as you come in the main entrance. It'll be on the left-hand side. It's a town suite because that's what we need for the families who come here for a weekend, here for 4 or 5 days because their children are competing. They want something a little bit more spacious where they can cook their own breakfast, not have to go out. But this is that first step, is to provide us with more space to accommodate them. Once we have that done, on the back part of the property, we will be putting in more fields: softball, baseball, soccer, lacrosse fields. We're going to do a new entrance that instead of coming in off of 534, that'll be the entrance for events, but the entrance to come to our main campus will be off of Clay Street. Part of the property that we purchased is the Welker Farm. So we're in between the vineyards on either side, which we're going to restore with Kent State University's help, so that we actually have Welch's grapes ready for them. But you'll come in through the vineyards, and then you'll go in through the woods where there's just magnificent big oak trees. That winding path will come in, and it will come and will connect to the road that is right at the end of the 5th house, the one that you went in. And it will go through some of the water, because we've got some good springs out there, that will feed the reservoir that's right adjacent to that big mound of dirt. We're going to activate that into a new pond, and that will become the center of campus. That'll be the hub. There'll be parking area out there, meaning parks, space, not parking, a place where you can relax. And other facilities will go around that space. One of them will be to build a large residence house, because obviously the small houses we have, while they're very good as starters for us, and the only thing that we could do with the short time that we had from when the property was purchased to when we needed to occupy them with our kids, that was our best option, was to take modular houses, modify them to accommodate 12 students in the academic year or 20 students in the summer in camp program. We need to put kids in a bigger space because kids do better in a bigger space. We all are different, and finding opportunities to find people who are more like us is harder to do when you're in a smaller living community. Hence the reason for a 150-person residence house that would go somewhere out in that general area. Probably the next facility that I'm advocating for, I don't think Jonathan is 100% on board yet with this one, but the next one that I'm advocating for is I want to create a large production studio facility on the property. One, because our kids need it, because many of the kids who come in sport here will never make a living at sport. They will likely get into college because they do well in their sport, and they will get special consideration as an applicant, maybe with their financial aid program, for their skills. But at the end, they're probably not going to make a living as an athlete. That's less than 0.5% of any of the kids who go into sport institutions like this ever get to a professional position. So we have to make sure that there are opportunities for them around that love to do other things connected to that love. Be a videographer, be a sports broadcaster, be a strategist, be a person who's doing all the data analysis. So to do that, we need a facility to teach them those skills. It's also my opinion, and I don't live here, I live in Chicago, but it's my opinion with what research so far is that Cleveland doesn't have really good production facilities for movies or for TV commercials, which is part of all of what we will be doing in these other majors that we're going to introduce beyond the 5 that we have right now, some of the ones that I mentioned earlier. So when we build all of this out, it'll be a much bigger facility that probably ultimately will employ about 800 people, full-time. That'll be probably 3 to 5 years off. But we're going to keep working towards that as we keep adding these different pieces to it. So a couple of other things. We're also looking at getting a heliport so that we can transport people from here back and forth to Hopkins Airport. Also, because part of the facility in aquatics that you saw that is not developed, that was intended initially to be a medical component here hasn't been developed, but we're working to try to get that deal done and to get them to be in the space with us. Obviously, a heliport would be very helpful for that, for residents within a 50, 60-mile radius of here that would be coming to this facility to get some health care. So those are some of the facility piece. Now I want to focus on some of the new programming stuff that we've worked on over the last 6 months and that now is reality. And so you're hearing it first tonight. We will be the permanent host for something called the Aurora Games. The Aurora Games have only occurred once, which was last year in Albany, New York. It is a championship, international championship of women in sport only women. It is each year a different age bracket. So 1 year it is women under 18 competing in 8 different sports. The next year it is women over 18 only competing to be the international champion in that sport. It will attract people from all over the world to this. This first one coming up next summer is for high school women. Next year it'll be. The reason it's high school women this year is because of the Olympics getting pushed back, that we're doing the younger kids first, younger women first, excuse me. But that will be an event that in its first year drew over 20,000 people to Albany. It's a 10-day event. We likely will have thousands of people here every day with that. It also brings a large array of high-profile athletes from around the world who come and do workshops for young and for old alike, in sport, in all areas that they have developed new professions for themselves in. That will be part of this. So it's a very big undertaking. We're 99% there in terms of with our agreement. It's been agreed to, 99%. So I'm comfortable in saying we're going to get that other percent done. So that's the first one, is Aurora Games. Second one is in the area of drones. So you saw the drones flying in field and courts. The track and field facility right now is seen as one of the top 3 facilities in the world for the international championship in drone design and drone flying. And we are in the running to host that. That carries a winning purse of $1 million for the winning prize and attracts major sponsorship from around the world for that. So that would probably be 2 or 3 years off because it's already scheduled out. But this facility is very unique. Probably more unique than Ron thought when he built it. It's unique because it has a 78-foot ceiling in it. And the drone championships around the world today are run with gates similar to what you saw in field and court that are all on the ground. Because of the height, we can actually fly the gates and let them get up 78 feet high and fly and go in and out and come back down and do things on the ground. So far more competitive and far more interesting for the flyers. To start to tee that up, we actually, starting on the 8th and 9th of November, will have the first meetups, which will occur once per month in track and field, either on a Saturday or Sunday for 6 hours, where drone flyers from anywhere that around the country can come. They pay $15 for that 5 hours to fly in that space. And in the drone world, what I understand is that, one, you want to be first to be in this space and test it. And so the folks who are flying today, all of whom are rated internationally as flyers and compete internationally, said in our space that it will attract people from 6 hours or 7 hours away just to come and fly for a very brief period of time in any one of those days. Again, that's creating visibility. It's connecting to the community because those people are going to eat here, they're going to sleep here, they're going to buy gas here, they're going to utilize the community, not simply come, drop in, do their thing, and then leave. So drone design and development, one of our majors, also something that will tie in with what we're doing in that space. Our esports, you saw our space downstairs. One of the major producers of the gaming in the world is Riot, who does League of Legends and a variety of the other games. We're in discussion with them about bringing all of the international teams here and for SPIRE to be their training center for all of those teams. And for their combine, similar to what football does, to actually take place here for all of those kids, young people and older folks who would like to be part of those teams. That's another great utilization of our space and will give us a lot of visibility if that comes through. We've also already agreed to add disc golf to campus. Disc golf was the largest growing sport in the United States last year. And we have a perfect environment here for a course that is a family-friendly course that you can use on campus for no charge. We've also been discussing with the people who run that program locally, but who are also on the national board, about putting in a competitive course, which would be one of the ones, because we've got this property and we've got a lot of terrain back there that they can work with that makes it even more exciting for them to set up their different holes that they would use for that. So disc golf is coming. We also have, thanks to Will Wallen, who's sitting right there, Will is bringing to us the National Wheelchair Basketball Association program that will ultimately, we think, have some major competitions here. Is that fair to say, Will? Very fair. So being able to provide that in this space is also something that we feel is very important to building out the community understanding of who we are and where our commitments are to community and to all humans in this space. You probably saw or read that we recently got NCAA events, new ones that have been contracted for to keep going, both in track and field and in swimming, out through 2025. So those events will continue to be here. And I think with what we are doing to build out hotel space, changing up our food program, and improving all of our space, not just the parking, but every other aspect of it, that we will become a more attractive space for the NCAA to want to host their national championships here, as well as the Big East and the other ones that are already hosting the different events here. We will continue to work and expand that. We also have been in discussion with and are very close to an agreement that USA Track and Field will host their major events and training of athletes here. That would be really big for us because they have a large organization of 20,000 people. They have their pro athletes, they have their masters athletes, they have all different divisions. When they visited us a couple weeks ago, they said there is no place like this. No place that can offer what we can offer. Because in track and field, this location, this space, lets us run men's and women's national championships simultaneously. There's only a handful of places in the United States that can do that. But probably for many of them, one of the best ones is here. So we look forward to adding that. We're also starting conversations with the AAU about basketball and bringing large components of that. Now that we have 5 basketball courts, we have the ability to do a lot more than we could when we just had the one, the Cavaliers court. That plays into our future as well as one of our major components. We also have just come to an agreement with the USA Synchronized Swimming to hold their national championship here, bring it back to SPIRE. It was here some years ago. That will be coming up in a few months to start to be the home for that. We also are in conversations with wrestling, the National Wrestling, is that right, Jeff? Wrestling Federation? USA Wrestling, to start hosting events here for high school kids, for college. They're very interested in coming back into this space and using it on a more regular basis for events. We talked a little bit about the summer concerts and the movie piece. And we're also, I don't know if you've ever been over here on a Tuesday night at about 4:30 in the afternoon, but if you haven't, I think they're going to do this for 1 or 2 more weeks. But we have the Remote Control Sailboat Club that uses our pond out front on Tuesday nights and races. And these are not little inexpensive sailboats. And the people, I don't know if anybody in the room owns one of them, but the people who do come and race every Tuesday night and on Saturdays would love to have more people come by, and they'll teach you. They'll give you the controls to you to try their boat. It's just another way to try to reach out, give this place to more of you in the community to feel like this is home. Not just for us, but for you. We're also going to host the Master Swimming Championship coming up in a few months, master level. So that's a new event coming back to us. And our veterans. Our veterans program here is really important to us. It's been important for some years. We're going to work hard to grow that and expand it to better service, meet the needs of our veterans who are handicapped and need an opportunity and a place to go and feel better about themselves. And the support for that is something we've been doing, but that program we're going to work to expand. As we get more funding, hopefully from the federal government, then we will be able to service more of that. But we want to get more of those folks into our space. And there's more, but I'm not going to go into that. You've been very attentive to this. I wanted to give you an idea of who we are, where we're going, what we want to accomplish, and how much we want you to be part of that.